Hello friends and welcome back. In the last tutorial I showed you how to craft this female leather breastplate, and as promised this time I'll be going into greater detail about how the border tooling technique was accomplished. It'll instantly upgrade the look of your piece with a relatively low amount of effort or technical skill. This particular effect does not have a name as it is really just a culmination of some basic techniques and many sorts of tools can be used. So while you may not have the exact tools used here, you can substitute them for other stamps. Feel free to copy this exactly, but keep in mind the key takeaway is learning the process. Then you'll be able to take this effect and tweak it to your own needs and vary it up for your future projects. I'll be uploading more videos that focus on techniques in the near future, so make sure you're subbed and getting notifications if you like to see this type of content. And on that note, another great resource you can check out for general leather crafting techniques is the Weaver Leathercraft YouTube channel. And when you're ready to order your next round of leather supplies, Weaver has a huge selection of high-quality tools and leather at great prices. I've been a frequent customer of theirs for many years, and now they are working with me to support the creation of these video tutorials, which I hope will aid you in your journey as a leather artist or a maker. I'll be using border lines to contain the pattern. My preferred method is to use a wing divider to make consistent guidelines parallel with the borders, and I'm setting the width to the same size of the tool that I chose. The purpose of this is both cosmetic and functional. The deeper lines will let the tooling design stand out more. Then I'll use my swivel knife to cut in a medium depth along those marks. And as long as your cuts are clean, it'll help guide the tooling process, like guardrails, so you don't have to worry about the tool wandering off track. To carve the leather, and for the tooling that will be coming up next, you'll want to moisten the leather. Most of the time I'll quickly dunk the pieces in a tub of water and let it sit for a few minutes. Once the surface starts to dry out a bit, you'll see the colors start to lighten, and that's generally an indication that it's getting close to ready to accept a good tooling impression. If it's too wet, the leather will look like mush. If it's too dry, you won't have much depth. When it's just right, the impression will be crisp, the leather fibers and oils will be compacted, leaving the impression darkened and glossy. Finding this sweet spot just takes some practice. When deciding on what tools to use, I'll either plan it out in advance and buy the tools that I want, or I'll experiment with the ones I've got and pick something that fits. I've amassed quite a number of tools, so most of the time I'll just pick something that looks good and I'll go with that. That's a perk that comes with time. To add some extra work for myself, I wanted to surround the banding and the borders with some sort of texture. I could have gone with a number of options, but I chose this one from Sergey. It provides a striking look without distracting from the primary tooling. This will also frame the primary tooling and help it stand out a bit more. I'm also adding a fade effect with this tool on the inside of the border. This is done by making lighter and more frequent tooling marks that overlap the initial row of strikes. Repeat this as you go further into the piece and lighten your strikes until it fades out. Test this on some scrap to get the hang of it. Then I'll move on to stamping the primary border. The tool being used here is one by Barry King. It is just listed as gear on his site. This tool has a directionality to it, which means I have to plan out the orientation of the tool. It'll look best to start from the center where possible and work the design out from there, being sure to mirror the direction on the other side. If your piece has a lot of shape to it, as in other than just a straight line along the edge, you'll encounter areas where the tool does not naturally continue a clean chain. So to hide these breaks, it's good to stamp over them with another decorative stamp. In this case, I chose a circular stamp. This will be enough to mask the disruption in the pattern and stand on its own as a decorative touch. Some of the corners are also covered with a rivet anyway, so this helps the visual consistency in this case. The hammer being used here is a Berry King. It's a 16-ounce maul that's available from Weaver Leather. There are a few sizes available, and I consider this one a medium weight. It's a good weight to get some good crisp impressions. If you prefer, they also have a mallet version of this. I started with mallets myself, but mauls just feel better to me. Some people have trouble getting used to them, but I feel like it's a good early investment to make. Once you finish the texture and the primary banding, you might feel perfectly justified in stopping there. But if you're after that extra bit of finesse, I'd suggest going to the effort to keep enhancing the piece. I'll be using this steep textured beveler from Weaver, and I'll be beveling all 4 sides of the channel lines to achieve the desired shape. A wide bevel here would muddy up and flatten the other tooling impressions, so I chose a steep bevel here to give some extra depth to the tooling. This step is also great for cleaning up any mistakes and correcting the flow of some of your tooling. One other tip I can give you is this tooling technique does not have to just be used on borders. You can find ways to leverage these patterns to embellish other decorative elements inside your pieces. Thanks a lot for dropping in. I hope you'll stop by again soon. As always, if you have any suggestions or requests, feel free to drop them in the comments.